back to the channel. Today we're going to be actually working on the Golf. We've had some parts turn up, elbows for loose pipes. This is a contraption for oil pressure, one so the gauge still works on the dash, the light, sorry, and one for the ECU so that can read the oil pressure. Brake flexies, we've got a roll of brake line as well, because I had a go at bleeding the rear brakes and one exploded, so I've got to deal with that today, and then an exhaust hanger that we might fit, but most of the exhaust is on, so we'll see where we get to with that one. Hopefully tackling more wiring as well. Got the connections for the water gauge on the dash, so yeah, we'll see where we get to. Okay, so I know I didn't mention this in the earlier clip, but we actually have drive shaft bolts. So what I'm going to start with is attempting to fit the drive shafts. So we're going to fill them with grease first. And it might not be the easiest to see from that angle, but and then from there we can feed in the drive shaft. Maybe. Oh, I just dropped a load of grease on the floor. Okay, so this side's all buttoned up. Got the drive shaft in there, got the ball joint back in, and I dropped the ratchet in the grease. So, onto that side. Right, so that is now both drive shafts in. I still need to actually tighten the bolts up. I can't do that because brakes aren't bled yet. We've still got to do the rear brake pipe. I think we're going to move on to maybe a bit of wiring next. We'll see. Okay, so next we're actually going to do the oil pressure adapter, which replaces the pressure switch under here. I know it's going to be quite hard to see. Is it a 22? No. That's on the floor. So that's the bit we're taking out. And we're replacing that with this. Now this will go where the pressure switch came from. So we'll start with just the extension. And then this just allows me to mount that other piece somewhere where I can get the wiring to it and it not be in the way. Probably should have got the size of that fitting before putting it in. Let's assume it's one bigger than the pipe. Okay, now the pipe. And this is where I'm glad I put the radiator in first. I might have a clever tool for this. I do not have a clever tool. We'll see if that helps. Now, I want to take this and put that on there. So I need to decide somewhere out the way. The other thing to account for is when I made the wiring loom, I put the plug, if you can see that, for the end down there. So we might have to maybe go under the radiator. Over to here. I wonder if I could go off the subframe with a P-clip. Okay, I'll see what I've got and we'll come back to that. Okay, so I don't have a P-clip big enough to go on that subframe to hold the oil pressure, so we're going to come back to that one later. So we'll probably move on to maybe brake pipes. I don't really want to do those, but it needs doing. Alright, we are back in the workshop today. It is a different day. Things happened, but we're cracking on where we left. So next up we've got to fit the oil pressure adapter, which goes down in here. You can just see the end of the hose there. So in theory, what I'm hoping to do is put a P-clip around that. Hopefully it reaches far enough to go into a hole already in that cross member. So we'll see. Alright, let's see how much my hands get in the way. Or how much a bumper gets in the way. So that is kind of the idea. I guess I'll have to see if we can rotate it up a bit to get off that power steering pipe. Without dropping it on the floor. Somewhere there, I think. Right, so it's partially on. I just need to tighten that bolt up. That looks like might end up putting another P-clip on that later. I'd have to say on that one. Now for the last bit. Just got to plug ECU end in, which should be down here somewhere, as long as I've left enough wire. Where does that feed from? Okay, there seems to be a loop in there. Untie that. Camera down. Okay, so off camera I rerouted this bit of the loom, so we've now got oil pressure to the ECU and EGT back in. I've still got to do the oil pressure to the dash, which is over in this lot somewhere. I think next we'll move on to coolant for the dash, which is these two here. Okay, so what I've got here, this is a 33 ohm resistor. It's a bit overkill for what we need, but I've just prepped it by putting a bullet connector on each side for now. And now we're going to find the wiring in the car, which is this one, which looks like it's already coming out, and we've got to join these two to these two. Alright, so next time we run the car, we should now have a cooling gauge. So I think next we need to find the oil pressure terminal, connection, whatever we want to call it, which I think is this one here. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to test that one. Alright, so at the moment I'm looking at the battery. I need to tie it down somehow and I'm not quite sure yet. Under here there is the original bolt for the original battery clamp, but I'm not sure if I can come up with a fixture to get round to that. I also want to mount a fuse box here somewhere, so I was looking at maybe shoving the battery backwards. If I can clamp over the top, obviously all of this will be getting sorted and moved out the way, etc. Wherever it needs to go. I think that's headlight. I don't know what that is. Horn, I assume. Is that something else? I think that one's horn. But yeah, so somewhere in this slot, obviously that's what we've just done. So that will come back. It's just a mess at the minute. I need to sort through all of this. Like, why are you going around there? What are you? Are you oil pressure? I wonder if either of these two are oil pressure. Maybe we need to find out. That's later though. For now, battery and fuse box. I don't know. I also need to top up the power steering fluid. That's a big deal. Oh, this is quite a chunky power lead. It comes off. Supposedly. Don't need that. Yeah, so I don't really know at the moment. Okay, so last time you were here we were looking at making this battery clamp. That's now in and done. Got the fuse for the radiator mounted to it, radiator fan. So we've got to start by wiring that up down to here and then pulling through a wire from the ECU. bubbling. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? There's nothing on the floor yet. It's going down. Alright, so we've got most of the relay done. Power to the relay, off to signal side, to the fan, back to earth. So the last thing is to pull a wire. I don't think I put it in the loom here, so I'll have to pull a wire through probably one of these and as the signal for the fan, but I need to check my wiring to see what that is first. Okay, so I've checked the wiring. I have actually pinned it out ECU side, but I hadn't done it engine side. I'm not overly sure why, but at least now that saves a lot of chase work. So I've put the green one in. That will go up and feed our relay. So that will do. Obviously I'll come back and tidy all this up once I'm happy with it. So yeah, you can join that there. Okay, so moving on from the relay for the fan, we're now on to the relay for the fuel pumps. Now I have had the fuel pumps running, but only on a spade terminal connection. So we're now looking at wiring them in properly. So I've got my fuel pump power feed, which I don't have a terminal for. So I'll have to go and get that. That wants to go on the end of here. To go into 30 or 85. No, 30 or 87. What we will do first . Over the end of it just to try and protect it a little bit. Right. 30 and 87. 87 and 30. So that one goes in there. Then I need a 12-volt power source, was this one here. So that will need to go to the other side, which is 30. No. I've plugged into 30. So 87. And I also need a power to one of these two, so 85. So I need to double loop this. Yes, I will be tidying up all of this wiring, but for now, whilst I'm still in the testing phases, this is how it is. Right, so I'm going to need a spade terminal to go in there, and 2 females to go into the relay. Yep. Okay. Seem to be running out of terminals, so we're going to have to hook the battery up. Do a voltage test. Alright, now the battery's hooked up, I have my trusty multimeter. We're just trying to find a 12-volt feed. It's going to have to be that. Let's see if it's still got voltage. So that is a permanent. Not a problem. Get that out of the way. More terminals. Right. Now I just need to get behind the fuse box. The battery is disconnected. Okay, so we've now got 87 and 85. 87 wants to be the big one, and 85, which means lastly should be 86. which should be our earth from the ECU, this one. So I'm going to leave all the length on it for now, and again I'll come back later on and tidy it up. And once this is done, so in theory now we have fuel pumps wired, we have fan relay wired, so they should all be able to feed off the ECU, which in theory means we're now ready to run the car, let it get up to temperature and do everything all as it wants to. We haven't got boost pipes yet, so we can't drive it unfortunately, but we've still got a lot of work left to do before then anyway. But we're on a good starting point, and I think we'll leave that for the next video. So thank you very much for watching. See you soon.